All right, welcome back to another video. It's been about a week since I filmed the previous video. I actually just got back from vacation. It was much needed vacation, but I'm here now back at the farm. As you remember last video, I had found a leak. Now I'm showing up to the farm here and it looks like our pivot fell down. Not really, it just, I don't know what they're doing. I think they might be switching out a pivot or switching something. I'm gonna pull up here to the pivot and show you, because if you remember, I was talking about it last video where there was a hole in one of the pipes. So I think that right there is the old pivot, and I think they're just putting up a used pivot here. That's at least what it looks like. But I'm gonna come out here and take a look. Yeah, this looks like it's a used pivot, because this right here is a valley, and then the old one that we had on there was a Zematic. So I'm assuming that's what it is. They're just putting up a used pivot, one that doesn't have rusted pipes on top. But I want to come out here and take a look at these peanuts, because I haven't seen them about a week. But I think they're starting to look pretty good. They're getting pretty big already. Oh yeah, camera does not pick it up, but if you look across the field with your eye, oh yeah, it's starting to look green. I really love it. So this new pivot doesn't look like it has our hoses that we have on it, or hoses is what I was saying. No, we have on the pivot that we have a little deal right above here. It acts like a filter. You don't get your tips clogged as much, because this field has, or these wells here, they have a problem with the tips closing up like crazy, and it's not very clean water, I guess. So tips always tend to close. So we're probably gonna have to take all the filters off of that pivot and then move them onto this one. And then on the other side, so we have our peanuts right there. On the other side right here, we actually have some cotton. I guess the guys working on the pivot here, they've been driving over this a little bit, but that should be fine. This cotton is, I'd say, about a week old. So it's barely coming up out of the ground. It's small, but it's getting there. Cool, I'm gonna go check up on a few other things. I'm not quite sure what we're gonna do today. We might be putting some fertilizer out on our peanuts, but I'll keep filming. I'll see what we're gonna be doing. Oh, look what I found! It's the first one of the year, and I accidentally drove over it too. Check it out. Look, it's a snake. Hey, buddy. I didn't see you there. That's a copperhead. Oh yeah, you better be careful of that one. That's not a rattlesnake, but that copperhead, if that one bites you, yeah, you better rush to the hospital, because those guys are dangerous. Well, look at that. It's the first snake of the year. Cool. Probably should get off the road, buddy. You saw nothing. Man, I wish the camera could pick that up a lot better than what it does, because that field already looks super green. I think that looks beautiful. Oh yeah, look at that, the camera does pick it up. Sweet. These peanuts, they're a lot bigger already. This field right here, these are Virginias. The field that I just barely showed you, those were runners. These peanuts, they're a lot bigger already. There's some nice rows here. You look across the field, it looks green. Shoot, yeah, I love it. There are gonna be some good peanuts here. Beautiful. Oh yeah, let's check up on the cotton too. There's a few cotton here. This one, these are, I think, also about a week old. I think they might have gotten a little bit of hail damage, or even some wind damage. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Yeah, you can tell they're a little bruised, but they probably should come back. This one's getting a new leaf right there. It's turning greener than the other ones. So there's not very big rows yet, but there's a few. You can kind of see the rows right here, but yeah, not too bad. All right, let's go find ourselves some work to do. All right, so we're gonna need some parts. Find ourselves some work to do. Hey, where do we keep plugs? The pivot plugs.
Pivot plug.
I usually keep one or two in my truck. No, these are just hose barbs. We're supposed to have them here somewhere. We got spiders here. I found some underneath this bag over here. Yeah, I found some. I got 3 here. I like keeping a few extra in my truck, so I'll take with these many. All right, let's go get the gearbox.
Let's go.
We need a short shaft gearbox.
Short shaft. Okay, we have
Light sesame. These are long shaft gearboxes. We need the short ones.
these short ones? Oh, those, there they are.
Looks like they're underneath here, so we'll probably have. Nope, there's one back there.
Oh, sweet.
So let's move this one.
Hey.
Yeah, let's move this one out of the way, and then let's grab that one back there. All right. So we actually found ourselves some work to do. Turns out there was a pivot that's broken, so we needed to replace the gearbox. Gearbox is busted, so we got the new gearbox. Now we're also going to finish setting up some fertilizer pumps with fertilizer hose so we can set it all up. I need some hose barbs. No, sorry, not hose barbs, hose clamps. This one's way too big. Do we have? No, also way too big. Anyways, we got extra hose here. We're gonna use this. This is gonna lead from the tank to the fertilizer pump, and the fertilizer pump into the pivot. So we're gonna start setting all that up. It takes a while. Just trying to find parts here now, wondering where we keep hose barbs. We usually keep some around, but if not, I have some in my truck. But we're gonna start setting up all the fertilizer equipment that we're gonna use. And then here in the next couple of days, we're gonna start fertilizing and giving our peanuts some good fertilizer. Oh, we do not have very many of these fertilizer pumps. So we have only a few of them sitting around, and last year we had peanuts on that half of this field, and we were using that to fertilize the field, so we're just gonna disconnect this all. I believe this hose can stay here. It doesn't look very good anyway. We're gonna put new hose on everything. So we're just gonna disconnect the hose on both things. I gotta disconnect the wire from the pin. Oh, never mind, it already is. Sweet, yeah, just get me flat screwdriver and we should be good. We'll disconnect both hoses, load this up onto the trailer. I didn't really want to load it up onto my truck because I wasn't sure how much fertilizer was going to pour out, and I don't want my truck getting all full of fertilizer because I don't want, you want to wash that off or else it eats up your truck a little bit, so don't really want that. So I'm going to take that off. That one actually doesn't work. There's another fertilizer pump right there, doesn't work, so we're just going to take this one because we know this one works. Let's not break this connection there. If it's broken, then just snip it off. We'll get a knife, cut it off right here, and then get it later. And then we'll get this one, and there's one more fertilizer pump on the next field right there. We're gonna pick that one up as well, and then we're gonna drop them off at both of those 2 peanut fields. We're not gonna fertilize our cotton, so we're gonna bring both these fertilizer pumps. Yeah, just cut it off right there. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, yep, look, there's already fertilizer coming out of there. Nice. But yeah, we're gonna be fertilizing our peanuts. We have that field right there, and then one more field in the corner. Bless you. Are you good? You good?
No.
So yeah, we're gonna bring these to the next field.
How exactly am I supposed to do that?
Yeah, you can go ahead and take that off there, Eddie. Try to
Yeah.
just break that hose clamp, and then.
I just broke the plastic.
Yep.
Congratulations, me.
Yeah, I guess then go get yourself a nice channel lock and try to get that thing off and put a new hose barb on there.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, this hose actually looks fine, so I'm not going to replace it. So I'm just going to cut off this end piece right here because the rest of it looks bad. So I think then we'll have enough hose. This should last another year. Normally this hose doesn't like to last very long because it's just sitting in the sun a lot. But yeah, this should be fine. We'll connect this all. We'll connect this one to this bottom one, which we need a hose clamp. Where do you have the hose clamp?
The hose clamp.
Yeah, let me check my truck here. Should have some. Usually, if not in here, then I should carry some right here. Yeah, now we're talking.
You wouldn't happen to have a hose bar, would you?
You can check if I have a hose bar, but I don't think I do. This one's gonna be the right one.
All right.
Let's come over here. Put this guy on right here. And good to go.
Yeah, you have some.
Perfect. Now just to connect the wires yet to the panel box, and then that hose to the other side of this pump, and this should be good to go, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah, okay, have fun, Conley.
Thanks. Oh, don't tell Brian what I'm doing here. He's not gonna be too happy with me.
Well, we won't.
So okay, so what I'm doing, those plugs that I grabbed earlier, I don't like having hoses this close to the pivot because I drive around here quite often, especially with the fertilizer tank, to fill up that tank with fertilizer. So I'm taking off at least one hose because there's one too many on here. And Brian thinks we lose a lot of acres, we don't get to water that many acres. It's one hose, it's fine. Just don't tell him and we're good. then we'll be gold.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine. Hey, you dropped that.
That's okay.
Every farmer is secretly a gymnast.
Or we all try to be one.
Oh, yeah.
So we're actually just on our way to lunch right now. And I figured I'd just stop by this field just to kind of take a look at it. Looking at the cotton here. This cotton is a lot further along than the rest. It already has its second leaf right here. These right here are its first leaf. And then these are its second leaves that it makes. So this cotton right here is already further along than the rest. Well, ideally what we'll do with cotton is once we plant it, we'll water it up until it all is starting to grow underneath the ground. And then, which right now the pivot's not watering, we'll wait about 2 weeks to water it. That way the roots for the cotton plant will go as far down into the soil as what it can. Because the deeper the roots, the better moisture they'll be able to get, because we do not have a lot of water here in West Texas. So we're trying to get those roots down as far as possible before we start watering them. So we will probably wait about another week till we start watering these, which we're actually about to have 100-degree weather this week. So we might send the pivot around just a little bit just to cool off the plants a little bit, because we don't want them to overheat. We don't want them to shrivel up and die. So this cotton is looking really good though. I really like it. We do got peanuts on this. Well, just don't mind the weeds. We're gonna get rid of the rest, which this is actually not weed. This is voluntary peanuts. And I do not like voluntary peanuts. It's very annoying because it makes the field look worse than what it actually is, and the peanuts will take up a lot of moisture away from the cotton. But we got regular peanuts on this side, not voluntary peanuts. So we got peanuts on this side and cotton on this side. They both look really good. We do got a little bit of nut grass, but we'll get rid of that one of these days. But we're gonna head to lunch now and then head back to work, finish fixing that gearbox and setting up some more fertilizer pumps. All right, my one younger brother left with the poly rig. Now I got my other younger brother to help me out. We're gonna change this U-joint now. This field barely got done watering. It was supposed to stop straight with the rows, and it got barely past it, and then it's broken. So this U-joint broke off right here, so we're gonna fix that U-joint. And we also think, because that broke off and that tire spun in, we think this gearbox is gonna be out, so that's why we have that gearbox with. So I'm gonna take off the tire, jack it up on this side, and see if I can move the gearbox. If I can't, then we'll replace it. So we're gonna get to it and see if we have to replace the gearbox or not. Yep, gearbox is bad. Gonna have to replace it. And it's fixed. New gearbox, had to put new set of U-joints on this side right here. That side was still good. I didn't film it because, you know, I did the whole cool little thing. Anyways, we actually had to go back to the shop. I grabbed the wrong gearbox. I grabbed the short shaft and it needed a long shaft. Technically, I guess I could have still used the short shaft and then just flip the tire around, but that side had a long shaft, so I just figured I'd put a long shaft gearbox on this side too. But anyways, we're done here. Time to get back to the fertilizer side of things. So I brought the next fertilizer pump here. That one right there. That's a little bit of a different one, but that's one of the newer styles, a lot nicer. My little brother's up here now greasing the pivot. Whenever we service the pivot, we forgot to do it, so the pivot has some grease nibbles up there, grease zerks, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. There's two of them right on this side and two of them on that side. This is turning around all day long like this, especially when the pivot's moving. So we gotta grease it, or you gotta at least grease it once a year. You usually put about a tube in there, or about 200 pumps per zerk or whatever. So he's doing that. This hose right here does not seem the greatest, so I'm gonna put all new hose here. You lead a hose from this tank to the pump, and from the pump to this fitting right here that will lead right into the pivot. And it sounds like he's out of grease, so he needs a new grease tube. And we're done here. New hose leading up to the pump, and then from the pump straight into the pivot. The wire we're just gonna connect later because the pivot's moving. My cousin is spraying some last burn down and a last residual on this peanut field, so we'll have to connect the hose maybe tomorrow or something, because I believe tomorrow, because we have to wait about 12 hours after he's done spraying it, and then we have to turn the pivot on and water it. So we'll just connect this all tomorrow. It should work because we used it last year. There's usually always problems, but I guess we'll see when that time comes tomorrow. For now, I guess we'll go get our nursing tank and we'll go start hauling fertilizer. Fill this tank up with fertilizer. Load up the next tank over there with fertilizer. I can fit, what, about 1,700 gallons in here. I think I can fit about the same in that one, if not a little bit more. So, actually no, that's liters. I can fit about 1,200 gallons. Okay, that's what I thought. 1,200 gallons in here, about 1,500 in that one. So I'll probably just fill them up all the way, and then we'll call it good for today. Filling. So currently filling up this tank. While I was gone, they started fertilizing this one field of peanuts right here. This tank doesn't need more. The pivot is almost around. It maybe needs another 200 gallons, so I'm just gonna put a few extra gallons in here just to make sure that it can make a full rotation with fertilizer. And then we'll go load up some more fertilizer and fill up those other two tanks that I was talking about. So this field is gonna be done. We're only doing one shot of fertilizer. It's only gonna do one round and then we're gonna be done. So that's gonna make it a whole lot easier. We don't have to do too many loads, so that's good. And you know, I'm not quite sure what the blend of this fertilizer is. I think it has nitrogen in it. There might be a blend, I'm not quite sure. I haven't asked anyone about it yet. I've been gone and they've brought loads of fertilizer to those tanks where I was just at. So I'm not quite sure what it is, but here's the basic idea. There's this pump. It's pumping it into that pipe right there. That's going underneath the ground. Pipes that lead to the middle of the pivot, or to the pivot, and then the pivot evenly distributes the fertilizer with the water across the peanuts. Peanuts are gonna get some really good fertilizer and they're gonna start growing really quickly after this. So peanuts, they only need about one shot of fertilizer. They don't need much because they make nitrogen themselves whenever they get a little bit older and bigger. So they don't need much. They just kind of just need that little head start in the beginning. So I got about 550 gallons in here, only filled up about 300 gallons. The pivot should make it around. It's probably going to be around tomorrow morning, and then we'll shut this pivot off. I don't think it needs more water after this. Then we might wait a couple of days and then start watering it again. But for now, we're gonna go back to those other fields. We're gonna load up fertilizer, and then possibly tomorrow, maybe the day after, then we'll start turning on those pivots, start watering those peanuts. Since it is gonna be 100+ degree weather this week, gotta hopefully turn on the pivots this week to where the peanuts get a little bit cooler. Don't want them to overheat, so we're gonna head that way. Well, and now unloading into the tanks. And then one of these days we're gonna start fertilizing these peanuts. This tank is gonna come follow this hose right here to that fertilizer pump. I still need to connect it to right there, but I need a new check valve right there. They make little check valves that fit right inside that little tube, and then this is a one-way thing to where the fertilizer gets pumped in there and nothing gets pumped back out. And I need a new one of those because that one's broken and I currently don't have one, so I'm gonna get one from town tomorrow. But we're gonna haul a few more loads today, and then we're gonna call it it. And that's 1,000 gallons. Well, I guess there was a little bit in the tank, so there's about 1,100 gallons down here. But technically, it doesn't really empty it out all the way, so yeah, there's 1,000 gallons in there. Well, that's gonna be it for this video. I do appreciate y'all for watching. Next video will be, I guess you could say, part 2 of this video. Next video we will be turning on the pivot, turning on the fertilizer pumps, getting everything working, getting all that done. So I do appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.